Hi friends, thanks for joining me today and thank you for liking videos, subscribing, as well as for all of the great comments, which I really truly appreciate. Today I wanted to talk about focusing on what you have that wasn't taken from you. As we process losses from being in DV situations, there are things that we have lost. Sometimes it's our sense of trust. Sometimes it can be self-confidence. It can be many things of value for your life, um, relationships, and I could list many things that I lost in being in that particular bad relationship. Actually, I could list quite a few. Um, Probably most could say my finances suffered. When you're with a selfish person, they demand that you financially provide for them and care for them. At first, they win you over by saying that they are there for you and going to care for you, but in the end, you're actually just taking care of them constantly. So finances suffered. I gave up some closer relationships with friends. I was in a great spot where I had some good friends. I was spending a lot of time in different groups with different people, and I was trying to be mature and responsible by investing in our relationship. That's kind of what I was told I should be doing. And so some of my investment in groups went away. And it's unfortunate because people who were getting to know me and relationships I was developing were sort of held back because I couldn't invest in these people the way that I would have if I hadn't been in this bad relationship. Sometimes things that you lose are your trust in your own ability to judge situations and evaluate what's really going on in the world. But on the positive side, I want to tell you about a thought I was having the other day. I'm getting ready to go somewhere, and I just started thinking about all of the things that this person tried to change within me and failed to change. And it really made me feel, I don't know, it made me feel good to think about how much he failed at changing me. And I encourage you to do the same. Take some time and think about it. So I have a little list here. And I said in my journal, I am proud that. Well, I'm proud that I didn't become anorexic. This person was obsessed with appearance and was determined, to get me to go to the gym, which I liked. But he was obsessive about food. He was obsessive about exercise. And he really wanted me to become obsessive. And that's just something I never, he used to say, that's a bad food, this is bad. And I was like, stop. I don't call food bad. I don't have a bad relationship with food. I don't have a problem with chips. I can eat them. I cannot eat them. Now, we might say this is a healthier option. Fine. But I am not going to have a bad relationship with food. And boy, did he try. We don't eat carbs after 7. And you can only have one little baby scoop of ice cream. And I will say that after things ended in the relationship, there was a time in which I was like, I'm eating this guy ice cream at 8:30 p.m. because I can, and he can't stop me. But the other thing that I was grateful for is, apart from not having this horrible food perspective of food is bad, gaining weight is bad, I'm only beautiful if I get very thin, which I did lose like 30 pounds in, I don't know, 2 or 3 months because of his food restrictions that he put on me. The other thing that I'm proud of is that I didn't become overweight and sick as a way to get back at him, eating whatever I liked whenever I liked, or out of depression and sadness, eating food to comfort. I will say sugar is a bit of a struggle sometimes for me. Sometimes when I feel emotions and stress, my brain is instantly saying, you know what would make you feel better? Sugar. So sometimes I indulge, and other times I'm like, am I feeling emotionally stressed out right now? Like, am I in a bad place? Because I'm craving sugar right now. Maybe I shouldn't be craving sugar. Another thing that he tried really hard to do was to make me an alcoholic. I've never had a problem personally with self-control. I could have a glass of wine. I don't care if I don't have a glass of wine. No big deal. I drink sometimes. I rarely do drink, but he drank to excess, and he tried really hard to show me how much fun we could have if I drank a lot. And he tried to get me to drink if I was feeling sad or stressed out, and I wouldn't do it. It's just something that a long time ago I was like, I will not use substances when I'm struggling. But boy, did he try. And I was so proud as I thought, I don't have a problem with alcohol. I can be around people who drink and not be anxious, and I can have a drink without it meaning, without it being destructive or unhealthy. So I was really proud of that. Another thing that I'm proud of is his hurt towards me did not make me bitter and hate people. I know that for some of you it's like people suck, they're not nice, and we can't trust people. But I have always felt like he was a monster and bad. He was a cruel person. Some of the people in his sphere were cruel. I went through some cruel things. But I think overall people are still wonderful. Like, I still enjoy people. How could I not? I have a community. I church friends that are incredible. I've had incredible work colleagues. I have siblings that I care about. And so as much as he tried to also just make me have judgments of people and pride and being aloof, and as much as the humiliation of my choices, the shame that I felt, the pain that I felt from things that I chose and things that he chose for me, he didn't change my liking for people. And I'm proud of that. My faith. He used my Christian faith to manipulate me, to say God wouldn't like you committed to loving me, and so what does that say? You thought God wanted us to be together, so if you're not going to be with me, then does that mean you can't hear God, or are you going to rebel against God? It was very weird. Lots of spiritual abuse. It was actually one of the hardest things that I've had to recover from, is the way that he contorted my interactions with faith and my belief in God. Some people might say, hey, why did God let this happen to you? How could this have happened? And I just have felt close to God, and I felt God's sovereignty and love for me, and I never let go of my faith. Boy, did he try to get me to be done with God. But God's, I have always just felt such safety and protection, and that God saw me, and I haven't lost my faith. I believe in God now more than I ever have in my life. And I believe that God loves me, and I believe it now more than ever in my life. And so I'm just so proud and grateful that that's something he couldn't take from me. With all of the hurts and all the things he tried, he didn't take that from me. And then another piece of the I didn't lose my faith is I didn't become angry at God. And some of you out there might be, and I'm so sorry. I know that there are reasons why we say, where were you, God? Why did you let this happen? Perhaps even people that love us, like loved ones, parents, siblings. How could God let this happen to my sister? How could God let this happen to my friend? Where was God? I've just never felt that way. Because as things happened to me, I felt God was with me. I felt like there were times where I shouldn't be alive, but God protected me and saved my life. And how can I doubt that God saw me. And I know that this was just part of the road that I had to go through. And I believe that God can redeem every horrible thing. And so I hope that you will find that truth and that hope too. I don't want to be fake about it. I know that there's a lot of pain and a lot of confusion that comes when you have been abused, and a lot of questions about where is God and why did God and if God was good. But I just walked away thinking this person was bad, but not God. This person was wrong, but not God. And I'm grateful that I didn't lose my faith, and I didn't become bitter towards God. And I wasn't consumed by fear or hypervigilance. There are times where I do feel a little bit of fear, or something comes over me and it's like an alarm bell. I don't know that it's actually me consumed with fear. I know that many people, they've been through things and they are worried about the abuser coming back. Somehow, by God's grace, I've been able to function still and not be afraid in the ways that I could have been, I suppose. I'm just really grateful. I do feel safe. I do feel like angelic protection, and I have confidence that God is in control of the universe, and he sees me and he loves me, and I'm going to be okay. And I'm just grateful that I don't have to be afraid, and I feel peace most of the time. There have been a few times here and there where I have struggled, but overall, I'm not hyper vigilant all of the time. And given what's happened to me, like, I probably should be. And I just think that that's a miracle that God has given me that. I stayed in community. So as I mentioned earlier, there was a lot of humiliation and shame that I felt in letting someone hurt me, even though that's not really what was going on. I did try to leave and so on. And there was so much embarrassment of being like that broken person, that woman who ended up with this horrible person. Like, there's just so much embarrassment and shame that I felt. And, but instead of hiding from people, I just was like, I need people, and I just need to trust that, like, first of all, I think the people around me made it easy for me to come back, and they didn't make me ashamed of myself, and they just like loved me and cared for me. And even one time when I said, like, I feel so ashamed and how could anyone ever trust me again because I hid these things and you guys must think I'm such a liar. And it was what I had to do to stay safe, and even to, I thought, to protect others. And someone said, what are you talking about? Amanda, that's not who you are. You're not secretive. You're not deceptive. And none of us think that way. All we think is how sad we are that this happened to you. And I think I've stayed in community because the people around me just showed me, like, I don't have to be ashamed and afraid. And I'm so grateful for these people at the church that I attend. And along with that, staying honest. Like, I could say nothing about this, and that's not dishonest. Many of you are not going to ever want to talk about your story. That's okay. But I've tried to be honest with myself about the things that were choices I made, and then choices that he made for me, and some of the choices I feel were sinful and wrong that were my own. And not exaggerating, there was a situation where when the police were taking pictures, or I was supposed to take pictures of the wounds that I had and stuff, I did have like a really big bruise, like right here, and then like one on my leg from something that wasn't, well, the hand one was from him. But the leg bruise, which was very pronounced, they were like, oh, should we take a picture of this? And I was like, that's not from him. And I bumped into a trailer hitch and I bruised my leg. And I could have let that be more proof, but it was a lie. There was plenty of stuff that I could have pointed to, plenty of things that I could have pointed to, but there have been opportunities to not be fully honest, and I haven't taken those. I just have to be honest about the mistakes I've made. I have to be honest about the fears that I've had. I have to be honest about the things that happened and the things that didn't happen, so that I can be at peace in my life. And that's one of the things that he didn't steal from me. He tried to have me turn me into a person who had secrets that would manipulate people to get what I wanted. And this is what that's how he operated. And I never became like him. And I'm grateful that he didn't change me in that way. And then the last one I wrote down is kind of hard to share. One time when I felt I was in danger, because I probably actually was, I kicked him away from me. And like a typical bad person, it was, oh my gosh, you hurt me and I'm hurt and all this nonsense. And this was after like he had knocked me down, and then I kicked him away from me. And I said to him, it was a reflex because I was afraid. And then I said to him, I'll always fight. I'll always fight if I don't feel like, if I'm not safe. And that is a promise I have kept. I have fought. I have fought for my healing. I have fought for justice. I have fought for truth. I have fought. And he tried to break my spirit and get me to be so hurt that I could not foresee a future outside of him. And I believe by the grace of God, he didn't do that. But also there's a strength within me that I promised him that I would always fight. And I'm proud of that. So friends, what do you have that they didn't steal? Love for your kids, maybe. Friendships you refuse to give up. Maybe they tried to break you down and make you hate yourself, and you have rejected all of the words that were spoken over you, and you are like, no, I'm still deserving of good things, and I love and value myself. What are the things that you hung on to? I know that there's a lot of hurt. There's a lot of loss. There's a lot of confusion that comes with all of this. But I bet you did hang on to things that are part of you. I hope you'll find them. I hope that you'll be reminded of some of the things that you did, choices that you didn't make, them trying to get you to use substances that you refuse to use, or them trying to get you to not keep a baby, or a million other things. There are some fights that you stood up for, and things that you were like, that's too far and I won't. And I want you to be proud of yourself, and I hope that you will. I hope that you will take the time to acknowledge those things. Thanks for listening, friends. It looks like a windstorm is kicking up and it's closing all my doors, and it startled me a little bit. So I'm going to have to check on that. But keep fighting. Keep fighting. It gets better. It takes time, but it gets better. And there will be a day where you will be at peace with yourself and say, I still have these things that are mine and they didn't take it from me. I hope that you find those things and find that hope. I pray that you will discover that even though they took so much, there are things that they couldn't take. I'll talk to you later, friends.